I love Gunfire Reborn. And with that, I think we've hit 5 completely different genres of video games. For my first 5 I love, what did we do? We did an ARPG with Grim Dawn, tower defense with Bloons, visual novel with Date Everything, an MMO third-person game with Aaron Shore, and now we're talking about a first-person shooter roguelike. Love it. We're all over the place. Gunfire Reborn is the best roguelike I've ever played. I am comfortable saying that. The most hours I have in any roguelike, I think, goes to Slay the Spire. I think it's up to 580 hours according to Steam. I think like 200 of that was leaving it open overnight. But comparatively, I'm not even close on anything. Gunfire Reborn is only at 230. And yet, I have had more fun with Gunfire Reborn in 200 hours than I have with Slay the Spire in double that time. And why is that? When you first play Gunfire Reborn, it seems like this fine indie studio first-person shooter, almost hero shooter roguelike. You know, you've got your character who has their secondary ability and their primary ability, and you can have 2 weapons. And as you play through, you know, you finish each area, which gives you an upgrade to one of your abilities somehow, usually either your primary, your secondary, or how that character uses weapons. They have 3 different upgrade trees. You can't even call them paths or trees. They're just upgrades, which are randomly generated. You don't get guaranteed upgrades each time. You know, each character has 18 potential upgrades, and at the end of each area, you only get 1, and each upgrade can be stacked multiple times depending on the character, of course. It's a mix of the randomness of a roguelike. You know, that's not unique, but there's something with the fluid gunplay, the creativity of the weapons. You know, you've got your assault rifle, you've got your rocket launcher, but they're all so cool and Eastern inspired in designs. You know, you've got a rapid fire assault rifle that shoots fiery pellets that's basically just a fish. You're just holding a fish that's spitting fire. You've got little dragons that work as flamethrowers. You've got, you know, the ice spear that you can throw and then alternate fire to rip it back to your hand to deal damage again. There's so many cool weapons in this game, and I barely even use them. You know, at the end of the day, this game lets you play how you want. You can go primary focused, secondary focused, both of them, weapon focused, a nice cross between all of them, and all of this can be augmented either based on your run, or based on the upgrades you pick, or based on the character you start with. Some characters lean more towards weaponry, while others lean more towards their abilities. And then there's Momo, who's completely overpowered and they have not nerfed somehow. I want to be very upfront. This game is not balanced, but it doesn't need to be. There's no player versus player in any of this. It is an entire single player or co-op experience. And of my 230 hours playing this game, I guarantee at least half, if not more, have been played co-op, because that's where this game shines. It's still a really fun single player jaunt, especially when you have a build cooking and you're one-shotting everything you look at before it's even rendered on the screen. It is incredible feeling. But it's even better when you're playing with your friends, because enemies get double the health. They get another 100% health whenever another player joins, which makes the game a lot harder, you know, if one person happens to be falling behind and not carrying. Andrew, I love you. I'm also completely kidding. We both know Josh is the problem child. But here's the thing. If it was just the base game, I would have been, and I did get bored after about 40 hours, which is still plenty of time to enjoy this whatever $20-something roguelike. You go in, you shoot, you get bigger gun, you upgrade abilities, you explode everything in front of you with your mind, either with grenades, or with cards, or with meteors, or with swords, or there's so many ways to play this game, and it's rad. But the reason I keep coming back to it, the reason that every year or so I get sucked in for like another 60 hours, is because of the love and attention the devs are giving this game. Gunfire Reborn gets a new season every single year, and these seasons are so game-changing. It's not just, here's a new map, or here's one new hero. It's, here's an entirely new subsystem for you to learn how to abuse, and use it to beat usually a new higher difficulty. You know, I think last season we got Reincarnation level 9, which was way harder than 8, and then this season we got Reincarnation level 10, which was insane. I've only beaten it once, but it's still a blast to play. And the only reason I beat it, by the way, was because I managed to skew together enough BS upgrades in the season mechanic that I became immortal. Every time I lost 20% of my health, I would become immune for 3 seconds. And in those 3 seconds, I had enough health regen, I would go back to full health. So unless something could completely 100% of my health in one hit, I would always regen back to full. I still almost died. You get one free self-revive throughout the entire run. I still lost mine in the last act and barely beat the final boss. This game is sick. Even when you think you're immortal on the higher difficulties, you are not. You cannot stop. And that's what I sort of love, is if you play on lower difficulties, you can just brain off, explode everything in front of you. Or if you want to play on higher difficulties, you are stressed and clenched for like a 90-minute run as you go to beat Act 4. It is a great feeling for any kind of roguelike enjoyer. And here's the thing, I suck at FPS games. I hate first-person shooters, but this is definitely my most played first-person shooter of all time. Like I said, it takes the joy and fast-paced action of a hero shooter and makes it single-player and co-op rather than PvP. I hate PvP games. I know I'm in the minority on the internet here, but I don't like playing against other humans. I would so much rather play alongside a friend, as we're both bragging to each other about the new upgrade we just got for our build, about how we just found Craft Daddy or the peddler to upgrade ourselves. It is such a good feeling as you just walk through this game, so either casually or on higher difficulties, you are sweating together. I went off track. The seasons. I need to emphasize just how impactful these seasons are. The season right now is talismans. At the start of each round, at the start of each run, you can equip a talisman. You give it a trigger, which a trigger can be every time you move so many feet, every time you shoot so many bullets, every time you kill so many enemies, and then you slot in effects. You have like 6 base effects you can slot in, like, oh, whenever I kill 3 enemies, my clip is refilled on my weapon, or every time I move 30 meters, you know, my secondary gets another charge for like my grenades, and you get to completely customize it. And as you go through the run, you find new types of talismans which have bonus effects baked into them. You know, there's one called the loop talisman, which doesn't even have a trigger. It just automatically activates every so many seconds no matter what you're doing to get your bonus effects, which also while you're going through you find new and upgraded bonus effects. There's some that are like, oh, all of your damage is converted to fire damage and you deal 25% more damage, or the next time your primary procs it deals double damage. You get absolutely bonkers abilities. And as a reminder, all of this is just in this season. All like 20 talismans with all like 15 different triggers and 60 different bonus effects you can get when it does trigger. And then I thought I understood the entire season. I did like 15 runs of the season. I understood all the different talismans. I tried a bunch of different builds. It was awesome. And then you find out that talismans can have affixes, which basically means when you find a talisman, it can have little sub-effects, and you unlock this after you reach max level for the season. They'll be like, oh, talisman has minus 0.5 second cooldown. Whenever you kill an enemy, talisman does blah 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 blah. Every 2 times you trigger this talisman, it does blah 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 blah. It's wild how deep your build customization can go in this game, especially once you start using talismans with affixes, and this is just this season. They've had multiple seasons in the past that all function differently. There was one where you get to bring in like a CPU-controlled ally, like turret, that you can completely customize. I forget what season 4 was, but it was fantastic. I clocked like 80 hours in season 4. And the best part of all of this is the seasons don't go away. At any time, you can load up a previous season and play using that mechanic. They designed it, they developed it, it's still there. If a new character comes out a year from now, you can go back and play season 4 with that new character, which is so cool. In a world of permanently online games where content is being introduced and ripped away daily, I think it's amazing that the developers can add things to their game, call it a season, you know, where it's only available and its main focus is for that season, and then when the season ends, they just put it in a separate menu and say, yeah, we coded this for you. Why would we take it away from you? By the way, all of these seasons are free. This isn't like a DLC game mode. The only thing you have to pay for is additional characters. The game comes with, I think, like 10 base characters. They've released 2 sets of 2 DLC characters. And yeah, the latest DLC with the squirrel and the ice goat are definitely imbalanced, but it's still a co-op game. You don't have to buy it to, you know, you're not trying to be the best in Gunfire Reborn, I don't think. At least I'm not. It's a purely personal enjoyment kind of game for me. So yeah, if you want to experience all the characters, absolutely, drop the extra money, support the developers for giving so much additional free content. The fact that this game came out so long ago and it's still getting updates. When did this game release? This game came out in November 2021. It is only $20, and the only DLC is the 4 new characters. Sorry, 6 new characters of DLC, and how many of them are in the base game? I think there's 6 base game characters and then 6 unlockable through DLC, but it's all so worth it. They're constantly releasing new weapons. They're actually balancing some characters, which is cool. A lot of people didn't like the monkey Sun Wukong style character, and so they completely changed how he worked, like 2 years after he came out. They got enough complaints, and the devs were like, okay, let's alter his kit so he's more fun to play. I can't recommend this game enough. The one complaint I have about it is that there is clearly not a native English speaker working on the translation team. It is in English, but I believe it is Chinese in development, and there's some clear English problems that can make some things really hard to understand, but overall, it does not get in the way of enjoying the game. It might slow down your understanding of some base game mechanics for a few seconds here or there, but once you stare at it for a second, you go, oh, this is probably what they meant, and you continue on shooting and killing bosses. At the end of the day, I just love Gunfire Reborn.